This is John Zaninovich. Welcome to Move My Mass. You'll be hearing from great guests talk about balancing life and being fit. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Move My Mass. It's been a long time since I've had a show because of the move. Haven't had a place to have it really. So, a little temporary setup here, but I think it's going to work out. But yeah, saw you on the Rock Cobbler ride. Been wanting to have you on here, mainly obviously because of your running, marathon running, etc. So let's just get into this. How'd you get into running?
Well, long story. So I am 43 years old and I started running from soccer. So I've been a soccer player my entire life, and I started running cross country in high school in the 90s, and I did cross country, soccer, track, and my entire existence revolved around soccer. And so I did everything around, all of my running came because I wanted to be a better soccer player. And so I played soccer through high school, and then I got a scholarship to play at Cal State in the 90s, Cal State Bakersfield. And my senior year of college, I lived in an apartment complex near a place called Bagels and Blenders here in Bakersfield, California. And I frequented this bagel shop, and there was a lot of runners at this bagel shop. And I asked them one day, I said, "Hey, what are you guys doing? What are you training for?" And they said, "We want to do the LA Marathon. And there's a group of people that show up at 5 a.m. And run every day." And I'm like, "Oh, I want to do that."
And at this point, you're just like a soccer
player only.
Yeah.
And I was 20 years old. And I said, I wanted to run a marathon. And so I showed up at 5 a.m. and they befriended me. These people were amazing. And they just took me in. I was known as soccer chick at the time. And they just took me in and they were like, "Today we're doing X amount of miles." And I'm like, "Great. The next day, we're going to do some speed work." I didn't even know what that meant.
Right.
But I just showed up and I ran. And it was great because all I really needed was a good pair of shoes.
So how far out from the LA Marathon was this?
You know what? That's a good question because my soccer coach was not happy at all about this once he found out after I ran the marathon. It was Simon Tobin at the time. And it was after my senior season. And the marathon, I'm trying to think, I think I only had like a couple months to build up, but I was coming off of my season, fall season.
Which you've done a ton of, you guys run it.
Yeah,
what do you run in a soccer game typically? Average?
That's a really good question.
A lot.
Yeah. I was a midfielder. A lot.
Yeah, so
if
you know
positions. It was a lot of running as a midfielder. So I think I had a 2 to 3 month buildup, which now in my 40s, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need like 6 months. Not really, but I just feel like, looking back, I probably had a couple months and it was amazing. And I did it. And I ran with these people that I just randomly met one day at the bagel shop. And I trained with them at 5 a.m. I lived across the street. So all I had to do was walk across the street. Yeah, wake up, grab my stuff, go. And it didn't interfere. It was neat because it never interfered with like college or my life or anything I had to do because it was before anyone woke up. And then I ran a 3 hour and 30-minute marathon.
Your first time? My
first time ever. And it was so neat. And it was a great experience. And
one of my questions was going to be if you're a natural or sounds like you're a natural to run a 3:30 first one.
I kind of feel like I'm a natural only because my entire life I've moved my body. So just coming from even my background, I'm one of 5 children and everyone played sports. And I didn't have an option. I feel like nowadays working at a school, it's like I promote sports in schools and I'm like, move your body. Your kids have these things going on. Introduce them to soccer. And it doesn't even really matter the sport. Just introduce them to moving their body. It doesn't even matter what they do.
So once you got into that, what'd you like more, running or soccer? Obviously, soccer must have been your original love.
Yeah, and it still has a really big place of my heart. I don't play soccer anymore currently. Not that I wouldn't if anyone wants to have me on your team.
Right.
But at the time, soccer was still my number one passion, but I was graduating.
Oh, okay.
And I wasn't, I was graduating with a degree, and just a little, like, even before this, I'm a senior in high school. I made the Olympic development team. Mm-hmm. So when I was 18, I thought I was going to have a chance to make the Olympic team because I got into the program. Yeah. I got to the regional level and I got cut, which is a big deal just to even make the state team.
Sure it is.
The state team, from there, the regional team.
Right.
But again, you're asking if I'm a natural. I think it came from years of just my childhood, starting soccer at 5 and then just progressing from there. Trying all sports. I played all sports growing up. I just took a love of soccer as this is where I want to put my focus. Yeah. And then my dad said to me, you want to play soccer in college and you want to get a scholarship, you're going to run cross country, and then you're also going to run track because that's really going to build it up. Didn't like him at the time, but I'm thankful now that I had that. It's kind of like
if you're a water polo player, you got to swim.
Yeah. So, but after I graduated college, I didn't have soccer, and that was a hole, and I filled that with running.
So you ran your first marathon at 20.
Yeah.
How many have you ran since? How many marathons?
So it's interesting. I also started biking at 20. So I met someone that was a mountain biker, and I'm like, oh, I want to try biking. So after the LA Marathon, I got on a mountain bike with the SSFTA. At the time, it was the Southern Sierra Fat Tire Association.
Yeah.
And they took me, again, these people just are so great about, like, young people trying the sport. And I had never ridden a mountain bike in my life. And I got this $100 frame off of, I think it was Jensen or something, a GT. It was yellow. It was $100. And I said, I need some tires. And people just helped me build this bike. Right. It was amazing. It was so holistic and organic. And I just got out there, and I wore soccer shorts and I wore Vans, and I get out there on my mountain bike, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I crash all the time. They called me Crash. Like, hey, that's your new nickname. I'm like, okay. But so I was 20 and I run this marathon, and then I get on this bike and I'm like, oh my gosh. So there is life after soccer, which I don't know if people have that connection of, I've done this thing my entire life, and then what am I going to do when I'm not going to become a professional, or I'm not going to do something with this sport that I've put so much time into?
Part of your identity, or a big part of your identity.
Huge. My entire identity was soccer. And I honestly wanted to make the national team and Olympics and do all these big things. And I didn't. What am I going to do? And so the love of running, it filled that void for me, and I could still be competitive.
Right.
Because I'm very competitive, and I love soccer because I was very competitive. I missed the team aspect, but then I still had people to run with. And I'm a very social person, and I love the soccer team because it was so social.
So did you do any mountain bike races? Or did you just ride recreationally? When
I moved from Bakersfield, I graduated from college and I moved up to Santa Rosa, California. And I raced, it was so funny. I did like cyclocross races with my mountain bike, with my GT, $100 frame. And it was so great. And I lined up with the pros. I'm in a cyclocross race and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And I was right in the front. And these people were like, who is this person? I'm over here.
Best gear, best bikes, all that.
I have my Vans on and my soccer shorts. And they're like, what's going on? Oh yeah, by the way, I crashed in that when I was in Folsom, crashed on the cyclocross race. But I don't know. It's just fun. Sports are fun for me. Running is fun. And doing anything I've never tried is fun. Now that I'm in my 40s, I build up to things that I want to do, but I still have that like adventure in me, and the competitiveness is still there. Yeah. And I love that.
How technical do you get in your training? Now that you're a seasoned marathoner, are you super technical, or do you just, I run for fun?
Well,
and when it's marathon time, it's marathon time. Which are you?
So I'm a little bit of both, because so I qualified for the Boston Marathon by running the Big Bear Marathon in 2021.
Okay.
Yeah, I did Big Bear. And that was pretty intense. And for
So
that,
Big Bear 21 qualified you for Boston 23.
yes, because of the date of Big Bear. It was in November.
Okay, I gotcha.
And you have to run a qualifying marathon before a certain cutoff date.
Okay, I gotcha.
So I missed it by a week.
Right.
So that's okay though, because I was finishing another degree that I just got. And actually the timing is quite perfect because this Boston Marathon is on my 44th birthday, which is April 17th.
Nice.
So I feel like it was fate. And
Good way to celebrate.
yeah. And I want to get up on the podium with all the pros. Hey, thank you very much for coming to my birthday party. But yeah, I'm just so excited. So speaking of build up, now I research, I read a ton of books. I'm an avid reader. So I read what are the best in the world doing? What are women doing? Because I'm a woman. I don't think that we're not the same as like a runner man is not the same as a runner woman. Like just the things our bodies go through and just everything about being a woman. So I read and I follow, okay, what do women eat and how many weeks are they training for something? And so I think that I'm planned, but I'm also not planned. And what I mean by that is my work schedule doesn't allow me to follow a regimen schedule like other runners would. Like if you have more time, then you have time. Maybe you can run 15 miles in a day. I can't do that. I run at 4 a.m. currently where I can maybe fit in 8 miles, but then I might have to do something in the afternoon. So I don't have such a tight schedule that I necessarily would like mentally because running is so mental. And you really want it to physically feel good and mentally be prepared. It's nice to have 16 solid weeks of a plan. I don't have that. 16
weeks of base or 16 weeks of everything? Base, speed work, taper?
Because I've never stopped running. So I don't even know what not having a base means.
That's true. Yeah, that's
because
true.
I've never stopped.
Yeah.
Since college, I've never stopped.
Do you not have an off season?
I don't.
Necessarily? So you don't have a few months where you really take it easy?
Okay, I would say 2 months out of the year, which is June and July, I ride my mountain bike all the time. Right now that I'm in a 16-week training block, I ride my mountain bike once or twice a week. But I would say my off season per se is June and July, where I get to do whatever I want. So I allow myself 2 months.
And you're the type that continues to run a lot when you're doing what you want.
I'm still running. I'm still biking. I'm still... So every day.
Okay, so let's get into this a little bit.
Yeah.
You said June and July is your off?
My summer. Mm-hmm.
How many miles a week are you putting in? More or less.
30 to 40 miles of running.
Right.
And then remember, because I'm not working, I work in the education system. If the students aren't there, I have more time for myself. Mm-hmm. So I might run in the morning, but then with my husband, ride my mountain bike in the same day. So during my summer months, I do 2 to 3 things a day, which could be lifting and running or lifting and mountain biking, or maybe a small run and then a mountain bike ride in the afternoon. And I love packing it in when I have time to do that, which sounds weird, right? It's my off season.
I'm not doing a lot right now because of all, these last few months. But yeah, typically I'm doing a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. You're doing a lot.
Yeah, I know.
No,
which is funny because
it's
just...
That's what you enjoy.
It is. And, I talk to my friends all the time. And this is my social hour. It's my happy hour. It's my time with my friends. That's where I find that's my hobby, my enjoyment, and my time with those that I really care about. The people that are closest to me, besides my family and my husband, are the people I exercise with. Right. Those are like I would die
Your
for
family.
them. Like it's my family I choose.
Right.
It's neat. Like my best friends are from sports.
Because I wasn't expecting these answers. You're awesome. So I want to get into I want to get a little deeper.
Okay.
So let's dissect your 16-week program.
Okay.
I was expecting to hear, I've got for 6 weeks I'm building a base.
Yeah.
And then I start doing speed work or what.
Yeah.
I didn't know exactly, but I wasn't I've always got a base and I don't know. So what is your 16-week program? What's it look like?
So it was kind of neat this round. Oh, and my least favorite time to train outside is winter. I don't like being cold. Boston is in April. It's a winter training. So just going into it mentally, I'm like, okay, I'm going to struggle. I thought I was going to struggle because and I keep a diary or a journal, if you will. And I feel like it's so important to write things down. Like, how did I feel in this time of the year? What did I feel in this training block? Or how did I do with this nutrition? Or what did I? So I'm detailed, but I'm loose in other ways. But when it came to this training block, I was very weary because of the weather and the time of the year. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't like being cold. And here I am at 4 a.m.
And this was a cold winter, or has been a cold winter.
Unusually cold, and I'm dying. So here I am. But I just tried to say, okay, I'm doing this because I want to show up to Boston and do really well. So I started in December, and it was so neat because I had 2 weeks off. Okay. So I started the week of my winter break from school at my job. I was able to, okay, now I'm going to do a 10-miler, and then I'm going to do this. And so my 16 weeks started very strong because I had time.
Yeah.
I had time to get in the gym. I had time to ride my bike on the days I wasn't running. And so my 2 weeks so I started, and then the first 2 weeks were just solid. And I'm going to be honest with you. I put in probably 50 to 60 miles of running in those first 2 weeks per week. I haven't done that again. And again, I'm not sitting here to say, do what I do, because it's not for everybody. And I have a kind of a quote unquote coach who I run with the Greyhounds Running Club. It's a local club here in town. We kind of built it in the pandemic when there was nothing to do. We created a running club. Right. It's a ton of my friends. And then we did a 5K together. We did a 10K. We did a half to keep ourselves accountable during the pandemic when races were canceled.
Right.
So there's 14 of us Greyhounds that are going to Boston this year.
That's
super
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. So
are you close in pace? Close enough to run together, or is there a pretty good big range?
You know what? I am close with a few people. Just so you know, in Big Bear, I ran a 3:15 marathon.
What's the elevation gain on that marathon?
Oh my gosh, that was crazy. Probably like 6. It's crazy. Yeah. So,
got a little cat visitor.
Yeah. So, anyways, the first 2 weeks of my training were really great because I had time. So now that I have work, and I probably spend too much time at work, but then now it's like this dance I have with myself where, what am I going to do today? And I'm lucky in a sense that I can, instead of going on, maybe I don't run as much as I used to, but I still fit in a mountain bike ride. No one on my team does that. I fit in. I believe, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a man or a woman, I don't care how old you are, strength training is key.
Yes.
Because I don't run as much as, I don't run 100 miles a week like other runners on my team do.
Right.
I strength train. And I can tell you right now, I can hold pace and speed work with anyone because I feel like strength training gives you an edge.
Get her off you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the visit.
Yeah. So nowadays, just to show you a typical week right now, so after this week, I'm 7 weeks from the marathon. And so I do, I had Monday off. Yay, I get a long run in. So I get a long run. And then a Tuesday, I can fit in 7, and I can fit in a workout. Wednesday, just workout, no running, because I came off of a 20-mile run on Saturday. So I'm just kind of all over the place.
That's all right.
Yeah. So I ride my mountain bike, I run the next day, and then I lift, and then I run, and I might, ride really hard for like an hour or two, and then I lift. So I just have kind of my own thing going.
This is, you build your own program.
I do.
No coach on the side, or
maybe
some friends that.
Yeah. So I have this coach built me this plan, and I'm like, okay, got it. Thank you. And I built my own calendar. And then I have this ASICS calendar that the pro ASICS runners use. So I've got all these calendars right here, all these training, programs. And I'm like, okay, so 800s on this day, got it. I can do that because I can fit that in. Oh, but I'm not going to fit in a 15-mile run at 4 a.m. before I have to go to work. So I cut that in half. But then I also, if I cut it in half, I add a strength training in the afternoon. So I kind of do this dance on my own. And it's my own journey, and it just works for me.
I think I know the answer to this. Is your strength training 100% dedicated to helping you run specifically, or do you just strength train for fun? Like there are things I do just for fun. Like, you know what, this isn't going to, even though I'm training for a cycling event or something like that, there are things I do that just to move, but they don't have a specific target. Or is your weight training
so
specific to running?
What I like about what I'm doing right now is I am working with a trainer and they design everything. And all I have to do is show up. I absolutely love it so much.
But they do build it towards your running to improve.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
So like last week it was hip thrusts, it was lunges, it was squats, it was heavy. But then like this week I went and it was push press. So we've got like things where your arms, but what's interesting is I went running today this morning with my friend and she's like, I said, oh my gosh, let me show you what I did in the gym yesterday. I wanted to show her what I did because try this. She's like, oh, I run. I don't do anything with my arms. I'm like, okay, you might like, so weight training with your arms is actually good if you're a runner. And she's like, it is? So it's just interesting to me that I showed her this thing I did with my arms. And she's like, oh no, I don't work out my arms. I'm a runner.
Right, right.
Like,
No, yeah,
okay.
It's a common thing.
Yeah, it is, I guess.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Right.
Yeah,
and I don't think it should be a common thing, but it is.
Yeah.
You know,
but
afraid of the bulk. I think.
I know. Oh, very much. Yeah, for sure. There's this idea that heavy weight means heavy feet, if you will.
Right.
There
and
is.
It's hard to build bulk for most people.
No,
There's an occasional
really
person
yeah.
out there that can lift weights a little bit and they just get big.
Right.
But that's unusual.
It is unusual.
Yeah.
And I think it's more of a mental thing than it actually reality.
Right.
Because I lift a lot and I'm not a very big person.
Right.
And but I think it's hard when you tell someone who doesn't strength train, they're like, oh, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to be big.
Well, you know what we're going to get, you're at week 7 more or less out. We're going to get back to that. But I think one thing that people, like, if I'm solely training endurance, weight training is so hard. I can be super fit endurance wise and then go in the gym and it just wrecks me.
Right.
That'll turn a person off. Like, oh no, I'm only going to ride or run or swim, and vice versa. You spend time in the gym, lifting all the time. Endurance will, kill you.
Right.
It just turns you off mentally. I think that might be the case too with some people.
I'm glad that you brought that up because I lifted really hard. What day is this? Thursday. Yesterday. And then it's interesting because people complain about that. When you go in the gym and you hit it hard and you really pay for it. I love that. I absolutely love that the next day when I go do hill repeats for my speed work, that I hurt. Because I know that's my own body building itself up. Like today, I had such a hard run, but it felt amazing. I felt so strong coming off of the gym. Where a lot of my runner friends are like, I'm going to lift and then I have to take some time off or I can't because it hurts. It does hurt. It hurts when you sit down after you've just worked your legs really hard, right?
Yeah.
Or your back hurts or whatever it is you're doing. And it actually fuels me. That soreness fuels me the next day when I have to turn over my muscles in a run.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I'm odd. Not in a bad way. Odd can sometimes be a negative connotation. I think I'm unique because I thrive off this.
It's okay to call yourself odd.
Yeah, I don't know. But unique in the way.
You like the pain cave.
Yes, I really do.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I do.
All right. So you're 7 weeks out.
Yes.
Where are you now? What do the next 7 weeks look like? So
I will have 1 week of taper. And that's another thing too. So my coach is like, hey, 3-week taper for some. I'm not doing a 3-week taper. I'm doing a 1 week taper.
Is that because you've done a 3-week taper before and didn't like it? Or that's what your gut says?
The 1 week taper works for me.
Gotcha.
Because I've done it in the past.
Gotcha.
And it works for me. Mm-hmm. So I am looking at, so right now it's running probably Monday, Tuesday. So I run every other day. So if I go Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place, but 4 to 5 days of running, a day of cycling, and then I'm also intermixing my strength training in there.
And like you said before, your runs aren't that long right now because of school.
It's time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's work time. And what are your rides like? So you say you get 7 or 8 miles in the morning, and then you mountain bike.
If I have 1 hour, so I go for time if it's during the week.
Gotcha.
But my Sunday ride, like just the Sunday we just had, I did 25 miles on my mountain bike.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a 25 mile, average. So when I ride my mountain bike, I go anywhere between 20 and 30 miles with my friends.
Gotcha.
On Sunday. And then, so Saturdays are the time when I have so much time to run. So that's where I'm getting my 20 miles in.
Okay.
Yeah. So my long runs are on Saturday, a long bike ride on Sunday, my shorter runs during the week, and my speed work during the week. Yeah.
Okay. What's your taper look like?
The taper is cut everything in half. So that taper is going to be maybe 3 to 5 miles.
I asked the question because some people think taper means, I just don't do anything. And I mean,
no.
Not people that are seasoned. We know what tapering means.
Yeah.
But some people think, you're a taper week? Oh, you're not doing anything. You're just resting for the race.
Yeah.
And that's not the case.
No. It's still a speed workout.
Yeah.
Even the week. So I fly out to Boston on a Friday. I'm still going to do a speed workout. It might not be an 8 to 10 mile or maybe not mile repeats, but still I'm going to turn over my legs that week.
Yeah.
Maybe some 200s, maybe some 400s. Shorter, quick turnover just to keep my muscles activated in that taper week. Yep.
Yeah.
And then maybe, tapering is hard. It's hard because you go out for a 3 mile run and you're like, okay, I just got started. I just got warmed up. And you have to go home because it's like, okay, I usually do 6 or 8. Now I'm going to do 4. It's like, wow, but it is hard mentally to just scale down, but you have to.
You know what I enjoy about a taper is, I'm only going to go for a 2-hour ride today. Mm-hmm. Only.
I know. I only have to do a 3 mile run. I'm only going to go for 5 mile run. So you're like, okay.
That's weird.
I know. It is weird because then you have all this time.
Yeah.
You're like, fun. I usually set aside all these hours for running and now I only have to go, this short time. But it's weird. It is weird mentally to wrap your head around, okay, now what? Maybe some foam rolling, maybe some stretching to fill the void. But yeah.
So we've covered training pretty much enough, I think. What's your nutrition like? How strict are you? So
when people ask me this all the time at work or just whenever they find out I'm, an athlete. And honestly, I feel like I'm very boring and I'm very regimented and I eat the same thing every single day. I have a weird gut in a sense that things hurt me. And so I figured out what works for me and it gives me the energy I need. And I eat the same thing every day. So I wake up in the morning, I have my collagen coffee. I eat mostly a vegan diet. And vegan, I mean, I don't do dairy. So I don't, because it just works for me. Mm-hmm. And with my husband, he has celiac and he's allergic to dairy. I'm like, okay, well, we could do this.
Yep.
Yeah. So we have a mostly gluten-free, non-dairy life. Mm-hmm. And so I eat a ton of protein, whether it's protein powder on my oatmeal. So I have an oatmeal every day with granola. Mm-hmm. And then I either put protein powder, and it's a protein-specific oatmeal that I eat with my granola. And then I eat a ton of fruit. So I have a banana every day. And then I have an apple every day and a pear, and I have cut up strawberries. And so periodically, everything's cut up. So all I have to do with my work life, I don't have a lunch, which sounds terrible. And I do have a lunch. It's not that I don't. I just am busy. Mm-hmm. So I need food that's like right there. Right. I bring a cashew butter and strawberry preserve sandwich every single day with 2 slices of Dave's bread. Mm-hmm. Like the seeds, whatever, full seed, 21 bread. Seed.
Yeah, I think that's
my favorite.
Called.
Yeah. So that's like what I eat. So I have that protein that's like the oatmeal super filling, the fruit. Mm-hmm. That sandwich is like my midday big thing. And then ton of like raw almonds and cashews. And so I bring little baggies of all my things. And right now, because I'm running and exercising so much, I'm so hungry. So I actually every day bring another bagel. So I'm eating like these like random like blueberry bagels. They taste so good right now. And I'm so hungry. And then I get home from work and I'll have like hummus and carrots and pita chips. And then I'll make dinner. And dinner is the only time in my life that has variety. And it's fun. It's like fun for me to have
So when you say this, how many days a week are you having that cashew butter and jam sandwich?
Monday through Friday. And it's funny, but it works for me.
It's funny because it works and because you know what? It takes decision making out. Because when you get loaded up with deciding your training and work, obviously it's just eliminate. I mean, work is.
I wish I had a uniform. I'm serious.
Right.
I want to take all these things that cloud my mind.
Eliminate decisions.
Correct.
Right?
I want a uniform and I want cashew butter every single day of my life. And that would work for me. I am that kind of person. Because I have so much going on, I need to know what works for my body. And this is what I found that works. The oatmeal and the sandwich, I've been eating those for over 20 years. The same breakfast and lunch. I know. It works for me.
It works.
And I've been eating a banana and the same Honeycrisp apple. My groceries are the same. Like I get to the check stand at Trader Joe's and they're like, oh, there she is again. I buy the same thing every week. I do. And it just works for me.
You know, it's a good thing this isn't a real famous podcast because you know how many people would be out there eating these every day after this?
Oh my gosh.
It'd be crazy.
Yeah.
But you know, when the routines get crazy like that for me, it's I get tired of showering.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I know.
I gotta shower again.
Right.
Another workout, another shower. You know, the workout's not that.
Yeah.
Isn't the part that stresses.
No, it's not.
I gotta go shower again and change.
I have to go and iron something. Like, really? I have to go pick out something to wear? I get like so annoyed with the things that other people love. I just don't. I want to be outside running and training. I don't want to think about what I want to eat or that I have to iron or pick out something to wear. That's like the worst thing ever. But I would ride my mountain bike or run all day. You know? It's like the spot that you put your energy.
So nutrition, race day nutrition. What's your plan?
Okay. So I feel like I'm like throwing out all these brand things that I'm not like name. What's that called? What's that called when you're like throwing out brands?
Endorsements?
Yeah, I'm not doing that. But so I got turned on to GU, this GU brand, and their Rock Star electrolyte drink is phenomenal. I mountain bike with it. I run with it.
What's your favorite flavor GU?
Cold brew.
Oh.
Yes.
Haven't had it.
Oh my gosh. Do you like coffee?
I love it.
Me too.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the one. That's the one to go with.
Cold brew. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it tastes so good. And so here I am with my race belt. And for my last marathon in 2021, that was the last one I ran, Big Bear, I brought probably 5 GUs. And then my handheld was my electrolyte Rock Star. It's called GU Rock Star. It's strawberry lemonade. And so I have my electrolyte drink and my 5 GUs. And again, reading a ton, I just read like, what do people do? What does Molly Seidel do? What are all these marathons? Yeah. Sarah Hall, like what are they doing? I'm just curious. And Molly said, she's like, okay, I take 1 GU before I start and 1 every hour. And I'm like, score, I'm doing that. I did it. It was perfect.
No kidding.
Yeah, that was it. And I brought 5 and I didn't need 5.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what's your goal time for Boston? What are you hoping?
Between 3 and 3:15. Now, would I absolutely love to break 3? Yes. My goal, I really firmly believe inside myself, not being cocky at all, I could run a sub 3. Have I dedicated the time at this time in my life to run a sub 3? Probably not. In Boston, April 17th. It might be far-fetched for me. Yeah. Could I probably dig deep and get close to 3? Yes.
Well, I asked I asked the time for, because let's call it 3 hours. So you're going to burn 2,700 calories?
At least.
Ish, 3,200 in that range?
Probably, yeah.
So what will breakfast be?
Breakfast is always my oatmeal. I'm an
so you
oatmeal
stay the
bagel.
same.
Yeah.
Oatmeal bagel.
I mean, I don't veer.
Yeah.
And I will even go and purchase the oatmeal and my blueberry bagel. Like,
Yeah.
I don't veer even when I'm traveling for races. I still stick to what I know and what works for my stomach.
Right.
It's wake up, it's coffee, it's oatmeal, and a bagel. And it's the same even on race day. Now, here's what's tricky about Boston that I've read is that the wave starts.
Mm-hmm.
So I may get picked up from my spot at 5 to 6 a.m., but not start until 9:30.
Gotcha.
So if I eat at 5 a.m.,
That's too early.
that's way too early for a 9:30 marathon.
At least that stuff you can take.
Cashew butter.
Yeah.
Hello, I'll bring
Yeah,
my
you're
sandwich.
gonna be all good.
Yep, I'm going to be ready.
Right. 3 hours.
Yeah.
Trying to think of what I eat on 3-hour rides. Yeah. It's more or less the same. Yeah. I don't get too crazy on a 3-hour deal.
Yeah. I don't, I also.
Have you ever gone wrong? Have you ever tried something? I bet you haven't because you're so strict and you're so routine. Have you ever done something different and have it go wrong?
The only time I've done something different and it went wrong was eating something the night before.
It was different.
That was different. Like, let's say, I'll tell you a true story. I went to a new Chinese restaurant on a Friday night. I love Chinese. Chinese is phenomenal, or Thai, right? It might have been Thai. And I went to this new restaurant. I'm like, hey, let's go. Let's bring some friends. Let's try this new restaurant. Great. By the time I went on my 20-mile run the next day, oh no. It was like,
Bad news.
I need help right now. I got to go.
Yeah.
So that's where I have failed is the dinner before. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have problems on race day because I eat the same thing even the night before.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's a smart move.
Yeah.
Like me, it only happened to me once. I did something different for breakfast.
Okay.
Before a race.
Before a race.
Stupid. It wasn't a different food that I eat.
Okay.
I always eat that food.
Okay.
But not necessarily before a race or before a big workout. And stupid me, I thought I was being smarter. I went with a healthier option, actually.
Okay.
And the healthy part didn't mess me up. Just the different. Your gut's like, hey, man.
Right.
Threw something different at me.
Foreign, right.
Your heart rate.
Yeah.
I can't process this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? But that's you're rocking. You got it going.
I just keep it simple. Like, I'm just simple. Like, when it comes to food and just even, and don't get me wrong, I get overwhelmed because when you read or you watch, somebody who's spectacular or something, right? You're like, oh, I'm not doing enough, or can I get there? Or what if I didn't drink alcohol? Would I be a better this? Which is funny because my buddy and I, getting to the Rock Cobbler, my buddy and I did the Rock Cobbler, and we sat down on a training ride. We stopped because I had to go to the bathroom, and I go, you know what? I think I might stop drinking alcohol to see what kind of athlete I would be. And then I get to race day and I could really put in all of that. I wonder if alcohol, not drinking, would really make me a better athlete. He's like, what are you going to do if you get to race day and you're not drinking and then you have a really bad race and you can't blame alcohol? And I went, oh my goodness, I'm not going to stop drinking because then I can always blame alcohol.
You can always put it on something. It's so good.
But getting even to alcohol, in this training block, I don't drink as much as I used to, and I never really drank that much.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe a beer on Friday and then maybe one on Saturday. But nowadays, I just, I don't know. It doesn't like...
You better tone that down.
Oh. But
you're pushing the limits
It is
there.
interesting to think about, like, I wonder if I didn't drink, what would happen? But honestly, for me personally, I don't think it would make that big of an impact because I don't drink that much to make an impact that's
You're
negative.
going to go from a 3:15 marathon to a 3:14.
Exactly.
That's what you're going to do.
Right. Yeah.
So, speaking of the time,
Yeah.
at what point in the race will you decide, I've got it? I'm going to push. I can tell I've got it. I'm floating on air. Is there, do you have a strategy where you're like, okay, at this point, I'm going to hit the gas?
So it's funny that you asked that because
I am not a marathoner, so I had no clue when to do this.
I had no idea what to do during Big Bear as far as I had a different coach at the time. And I talked to her the night before, and we talked on the phone, and I was like, okay, we got to hammer out this race strategy. And she's like, you're going to start slow. It's 26 miles. Be conservative. Don't go with the pack. Just stay. And
what's
by
slow?
the way,
what's slow for you?
I was with the 3:30 pacer to start with. So in a big marathon, and I've been a pacer even, they hold the stick the entire time. So I lined up with 3:30. For my age, to qualify for Boston, I needed a 3:38.
Okay.
But that doesn't even guarantee you 3:38 or under, you can apply to the Boston Association.
Gotcha.
So I was like, okay, 3:38. I'm going to give myself an 8-minute cushion. 3:30. I'm going to try to stay with the 3:30. So for the first probably 6 miles, I was right with the 3:30 pacer at about an 8-ish mile. And I felt good. And so I left that pacer. And what's funny, this is going to sound so
Stupid
odd.
question.
Yeah.
What is the next pacer? What are the increments?
3:15.
Okay, so it goes to 3:15.
Yeah, it does. 15 minutes. Yeah.
Gotcha.
In this particular marathon, I can't speak. Yeah. But it's usually about 15 minutes. Yeah. And so I leave the pacer about mile 6, and I'm like, okay, I'm feeling good. And that's what my coach said is hold back, if you will, for those first few miles. Lots of rolling hills. Stay comfortable. You don't need to push for the first 6. Just kind of get your groove. And so I left the pacer, and I could see the 3:15 in my sight, but I wasn't quite there. But I was just in between, right? Let's call it a 3:20. And I felt really good. And then I want to say about mile 10, this is going to sound so weird, but this girl comes up behind me, and she's like, hi, what's your name? And her name was Alexandria, and she was from, I want to say, Belgium. And she's like, wow, you're running really fast. How old are you? Her and I ran for 10 miles together. We talked the entire time. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go. She takes off. She's like, bye, see you at the finish line. And it was just it was an awesome experience for me because we picked up our pace.
Right.
We talked, and we could hold like a 7:30 pace.
It let you escape.
It did. Right? It was phenomenal. And she just told me all about her life and how she wanted to be a citizen of America. And I don't know, just all these things. And she was talking to me. So then back to your question, mile 20, I looked at my watch and I said, oh my gosh, I'm going to beat 3:30. Now I want to see how much I can beat 3:30.
Yeah, you had 3:30 in the bank.
And I took off.
Yeah.
So from 20 to 26.2, I just started taking people off. I was like, I would look at the person in front of me, take them off. The next person. So I was just counting. I was just trying to catch every single person in front of me, and then I would try again. And so and it was so fun. It made my last 6 miles, which is when people hit the wall at 20, it literally is, my legs hurt so bad. And my legs did at that time. My quads are just like firing.
Yeah.
But I didn't even think about that. I just wanted to catch that next person in front of me and just pick them off. It was so neat.
Then at what mile is it? 23? Where it's like, doesn't matter. I got this. You
probably
finished
24.
almost, right? Or 24?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was so neat. It was almost euphoric. I can't really describe that feeling of,
well, so you put
gosh.
in a 3:15 at Big Bear with 6,000 feet of gain. Had 6,000 feet of gain in the run?
Total.
Boston's got a couple hundred?
Couple hundred. And there's a, Heartbreak Hill. It's this famous hill in Boston, right after the Newtons. So there's this Newton hill segment, like 7 hills. And then I looked at it last night, and I'm looking at not even a mile climb. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could totally do this.
Yeah.
Like the equivalent of Fairfax.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Now it's 7%, which I'm going to have to go and like really check out where 7% around here.
Right.
That I could look at. But so I studied the map last night, the course, and the elevation gain and all that. And here's what I read a lot. And they said Boston's start is downhill. Be careful not to go out too fast. Because the first half marathon, the first half is going to be downhill.
No kidding.
Be careful. Yes. Rollers, but mostly down. The hills, the Newton Hills start at 16. So I'm climbing from 16 to 24. That's where all of my hills are. That's painful.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
That's brutal. That's tricky.
Yeah.
That's mentally like, whoa, that the first 16, you feel good. 16 to 24, when the body starts to
when it's
hurt.
the wall time.
Yes, the wall.
Yeah.
They throw in those hills. 7.
Nice.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited. And going back to time, I'm just so happy I'm going.
Oh, I bet.
So a part of me.
It's a big deal to do Boston.
And what's neat is when I got to Big Bear, I honestly had zero expectations because it was 2021 and I knew I had already missed the mark for 2022.
Yeah.
I had so much time to do another marathon. So to be honest with you, I talked to that girl for 10 miles. I asked everybody, how you doing? Are you guys doing good? I love running. How are you? I talked to everybody. My husband's like, you would have ran a 3-hour marathon if you wouldn't talk to everybody. But I didn't have any expectations. I just went out and ran.
You got to put a muzzle on it, Boston.
Exactly. Yeah, that'd probably help. But just to be in Boston and to be with the best and to be in that city and run this iconic marathon, that's going to be better than any time I can get.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I want to do well. But to me, and honestly, I don't know about you as an athlete, but when I have a blast, I do really well.
Always.
So,
and I don't know which it is. I don't know if it's because I'm having a blast, so I do well, or I'm having a blast because I'm doing well.
Yeah.
I don't know which way it goes.
I know. And to be honest with you, when I got to the Rock Cobbler, I wanted to go back to my car immediately and quit. Because every single person looks like a pro. And I've never been on a gravel bike once in my life.
Right.
And I borrowed this bike and here I am. And I'm like, and I bet people feel that way when they get to the marathon, when they've never done something before.
Oh, totally.
But, and I had to put all that anxiety aside at the Cobbler and just to say, I want to have fun.
You picked an extremely difficult event to go just try out.
Right. Gravel bikes.
No, it's seriously...
Yeah.
It's the hardest thing I've done on a bike. Not just that Rock Cobbler.
No, me too.
All of them. They're all the hardest thing.
Well, I've raced bikes before.
Not for speed. Like, I can go harder. If I'm racing something for speed is harder. But as far as an endurance event.
Yeah. Those hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
And
they are the hardest thing to do on a bike.
Yeah, it was. And I loved it. I loved every second of it.
What was your favorite part?
Climbing. I don't know why I love climbing, and I loved climbing on a gravel bike. And again, I've never been on a gravel bike, but do you remember between like 30 and 35, it was right at the base of the canyon, like Rio Bravo area, all those climbs? I loved every second of that.
Yeah. I despise climbing, except in that event. Because it's the easiest part of the ride, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. It was almost reprieve. The downhill hurt me so, like my arms were so sore.
And I was afraid of dying.
Me too. I almost crashed so many times on that downhill.
I crashed twice.
It was reprieve to climb. It was like I could take a deep breath. And for me, I don't know about you, even when I'm climbing on foot, when I'm running or climbing on a bike, I find a rhythm in my breath and I just go.
Yeah.
I pick a gear and I just go. And I love climbing because it's almost rhythmic for me. And even in running, I focus on whatever I have to do. And then I just concentrate on the breath. And it's almost, I don't know how to I don't want to say it makes it easier, but it does in a sense.
So you're going to do it again next year?
I want to do the longer one.
Right.
I want to do the whole thing.
You have to, you're going to do the longer one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
My first time,
Good call.
I'm going to tell you right now, I signed up for the big one. And I scaled back because I got nervous.
You know what? You did the hardest part of the race.
I was so nervous.
I think, anyway.
That makes me sad that you said that because can I be honest with you? I signed up for the big one and I second guessed myself and I went down because I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? What am I doing? I've never been on a gravel bike.
Yeah.
And so at the last minute I changed. And then I got finished and I said, I could have done 30 more miles.
It's not that the second or the rest of it was easier. It was less technical,
Okay.
a lot less technical.
Yeah.
You just climb. He just made you climb forever.
Right.
And then the descents were fun.
Okay.
Except for, I didn't care for the single track where it's, straight down on one side.
Yeah.
So I just took it super easy.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was easier than the other part, or
Yeah.
mentally easier,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, that was a hard day.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what he has planned for next year.
Yeah.
I did tell him, I'm like, I think you might have gone too far. You might have pushed the limit too much. Yeah. And then the pros go out there and do it in less than 5 hours.
I know.
How?
I know. It was amazing.
I don't even know how you ride it that fast, because
Yeah, because we couldn't even ride it.
well, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
That section that took me what was that, 20 to 24? That was, you can't go fast. You cannot go fast. The mud was so thick. I could not even, I wanted to go faster. Yeah. I couldn't. I was over here in the grass, and then I would try this grass, trying to find a quicker route. There wasn't.
There wasn't.
It was terrible.
And if you pushed your bike, you just collected mud.
Correct.
So I even tried putting it over my shoulder, and I couldn't, because I couldn't get traction with my feet.
Right.
I had to use my bike to kind of stay up.
Right.
That was horrible.
I know. So I know. So that just thinking to the pros doing it in 5 hours, they must have just balls out. How do you? Their downhill must have been phenomenal.
Well, that's what it's all about. I went so slow on every single downhill. I didn't get to build my average from my slow climbing. Right. I went slow downhill too.
And a lot of those downhills were out of control. Like to me, and I'm being honest with you, it was controlled chaos. I was yelling at everyone, I am coming and I am not controlled and I may hit you, so you might want to move. I yelled at everybody that I ever saw.
Right, it is so true.
And these guys were out there, in their quads and stuff, and they're like, whoa, 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 good catch. And this one guy yelled at me, he's like, that was the best save of the day, because I almost ate it big time, and I caught myself, and then I righted myself, and I took a deep breath, and he's like, I saw that.
Yeah.
So it was literally...
I did crash going down Toads. Because 2 guys crashed in front of me. It's blind corners going around those. Yep. And I was carrying decent speed, because that's the way to do it.
Yep.
Because you don't want to be down in the ruts.
Nope. You got to stay high and you have speed.
I went into them pretty fast.
Oh my gosh.
But didn't get hurt. So
yeah.
That was one of my goals. Just don't get hurt.
That's me. Did I tell you my 2 goals?
Yeah.
Yeah. Finish.
Don't get hurt.
Don't crash.
Yeah. especially with the marathon ahead of you.
So, and that's why my husband's like, please don't do the cobbler. You've never ridden a gravel bike.
Right.
And you have Boston. What do you, and I'm like.
Yeah. You did.
Yeah.
And how long did it take you to do the pebbler?
5 hours.
So 5 hours, you don't do a lot of 5-hour events, correct? Your marathons are 3, and your training rides, your long training runs are a couple hours.
I've done some centuries in the past.
Yeah, those are long.
I've done Olympic triathlons, but again, they're not. So
what was your nutrition for this? Did you approach it different? The same, you probably ate the same things, but did you eat more per hour?
I literally, you're going to laugh. Cashew butter sandwich.
Right. You just
Blueberry bagel. Yes.
Yeah.
Blueberry bagel. I know. I just eat the same.
You just had more of it, I'm assuming.
I didn't have more of it.
No.
I'm also the kind of athlete that if I eat the right things the night before, and I had that good breakfast, right? So maybe when I say more, maybe eat more for breakfast.
Right.
Maybe I had oatmeal and a bagel and brought a bagel. For me, that's a lot.
See, I get low mileage. That's what I call myself. I eat frequently on the bike.
Okay.
And on runs. Yeah. Long runs. Well, I eat very frequently.
Okay. What is very frequently?
I eat every 20 minutes.
Every 20 minutes?
Yeah. When I say eat, a goo.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm looking at...
you know what? I take that. That's what my plan is.
Oh, okay.
On the damn cobbler, I didn't, because I was death gripping the whole time.
I know.
And I didn't want to take a hand off the handlebar to grab something.
Right.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Even on the flat, easy stuff.
Right.
It's so choppy.
I know.
I'm like, I'm not letting go. So I was so afraid. I'm like, John, don't get hurt in this thing.
I know.
That's the inconvenience of getting hurt
Oh, it's huge.
Oh, and in your head, 6 to 8 weeks recovery from something. It could be anything.
Life.
That's in my head. It's 6 to 8 weeks.
It's such an inconvenience.
Yeah, right?
It's like a car accident. It's such an inconvenience. Like, I just don't want to get in a car accident. I don't want to get hurt. It is. You have to, because then you're just like, okay, then you can't do something or something. It just enables you to do the things that you love to do.
Right.
It's an inconvenience.
Did you run through the balls at Ethel's?
I did.
Nice.
I know.
Some people didn't do it.
I didn't know there was an option that I couldn't do it.
Oh, there was an option. And then everybody sitting on the deck booed the people that didn't.
Well, when I got there, I didn't know there was an option. And I got to the aid station that was just a few, right there. And I looked over at this guy and I said, "Oh, I'm wet and you didn't do it." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not doing that." And I said, "Oh, there was an option." I didn't even know.
And my shoes were loaded. There was like buckets of water getting out of there. They didn't drain for some reason.
Nope, it was heavy.
Because all the mud was keeping the water in.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, as a sealant.
I so badly at that station, because that was the cutoff for the, I so badly.
Yeah, I wanted to just go.
For about 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm going. First of all, Sam bet me $500.
Oh, okay.
Like, I am continuing. At that point, my bike wasn't working right anymore. I bent my back rotor, brake rotor.
Okay.
So my back tire wasn't even free spinning anymore.
Oh, no.
Like 2 revolutions. I didn't know that though. I just knew it was making noise.
Okay.
I just thought it was making noise because of the mud.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't figure it out until I forget where I figured it out.
After?
No, it was during.
Okay.
I wish I would have figured it out after, because then it got in my head.
Oh no.
Like, oh, I'm riding with something. Yes. Oh, I know what it was. Some of those on the back part, I had to walk them. They were so steep, the climbs.
Are you talking about after Ethel's?
After Ethel's.
Okay.
And I was walking and my bike would slow down like every revolution.
Yeah.
I'm walking weird. I thought it was me.
Right.
No, my bike. Then I figured out that the back wheel wouldn't spin.
Oh my gosh.
Like, oh my gosh, I got to get back.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was so fun having you on.
Yeah.
Looking
thank you
forward
so
to hearing
much.
your results from Boston.
I know. April 17th.
I think you're going to go sub 3.
Really?
Yep.
We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
We shall see. I'm excited.
You've already done the worst climbing ever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's
true.
Gonna be,
true.
That's going to help you in this.
Yeah. I really feel that cycling and just like I said, the lifting, it does. It just makes everything like running. I'm like, oh, I got this.
Yeah. You know what? Before we get off, I never noticed that much of a cross for me from my cycling endurance to my running. I notice it if I run a lot, that it helps me in my cycling. But I don't notice it with no matter how much I cycle.
It's so interesting that you say that, because I have this conversation with my friends all the time. Does cycling make me a better runner, or does running make me a better cyclist?
For me, I know running makes me a better cyclist. Without it, after, it's been a long time since I've been a long triathlete, but yeah, the cycling, I go out and run. If I haven't been running, I'm dying.
Okay.
Vice versa. If I run a lot, I can get on a bike and do pretty well.
And what's interesting about me is running has been the constant, and cycling has been up and down, right? So I haven't been a cyclist as consistently in my life as I've been a runner. And so just by thinking about what you're saying, I feel it's true, because I cannot be on my bike for a week or even 2 weeks, or let's say 3 weeks that I don't get on my bike. But if I'm running every single day and I get on that bike in 3 weeks that I haven't been on, I'm fine.
Right.
And a lot of my cycling friends, because there's a group of us that ride every week together, they're dying, but they don't do anything but ride.
Right.
And they don't ride that often due to weather, or if they get sick, or if things happen, right?
Yeah.
And I can beat them on every climb. And it's probably because, like you said, the running.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
It was a blast.
Yes. I enjoyed every second.
And
thank you.
Yeah, Tammy and I will be checking in on your results.
All right. I'm excited. It's going to be something.